Hey guys, Nananki here, bringing you another installment of Kerbal Space Program. Last time, we built and launched a ridiculously stacked with fuel resupply vessel. Then we didn't leave it at one, we launched another one, and we coupled those two together, took both of them to Duna, successfully aerobraked, got a reasonably decent orbit going, left the planet with our intrepid adventurers, rendezvoused with the orbit of the resupply vessel, and that brings us to the beginning of this episode. Let's go ahead and plot a course for Ike. So it's going that way, and we're going this way. So this will be interesting. I guess, also our orbit's all kind of wonky. Is there an easy way to fix that? Kind of. Oh yeah, we need to control it from the proper side. I think auto camera's probably, generally speaking, the best one. Okay, a little bit late for this burn, just a little bit, but, you know, you work with what you got. I locked SAS at roughly the right spot. And you know, these engines might be weak as all hell, but they certainly are fuel efficient. I say that every episode, but God, I love them. The rate of burn is just so minuscule. I love high mileage. High efficiency. Fantastic. And as long as you add struts directly to the docking clamps, they tend to be pretty sturdy. They don't flex left and right too much, and it really limits the amount of wobble. I was to put a tri-coupler on with 3 docking ports, and it was just not working whatsoever. That footage is just worthless, because it's just me bouncing off of another ship until I just give up. Gotta make way for new footage of things actually happening. Things actually happening tend to be more exciting than, you know, nothing happening. That's just my opinion. You turn on the RCS when the SAS is on, then all those little tiny micro adjustments it wants to make become it firing the RCS effectively in every single direction at once continuously. There's like no faster way to waste RCS fuel. I can't even hold that many keys down at once. I'm not going to chase the indicator because I'm just going to cut it when I'm at roughly the right spot, which is here. Because that aim was right to fix that inclination. There we go. Now we just need to pick the spot where we're going to meet up with Ike as it goes by on the other side, which will probably be somewhere like over there. Maybe. Yeah. There we go. I'm fantastic at this. Let's do this slightly more scientifically. 2.7 million meters. Fantastic. Let's kick that up a hair then. 2.2. Yeah, see, that's close enough. I wanted to see if I couldn't get captured into a Ike orbit, but no. I'll come in with enough velocity that I'll need to do a burn to stop. Otherwise, I'd just be on a free return trajectory. I believe it's known as. Groovy. That'll work. That'll work. Perfect, even. 50,000 meter periapsis? Fantastic. I like this. I like this burn. And I have tons of time to get spun around to it, even better. Because the Duna mission turned into a several part mission because we luckily got that funding from the Kerbal government to take this monstrosity out here and supply these guys for future endeavors. We'll assume this also came with food and air, you know, little things. Just creature comforts. And as you can see, they still have tons of fuel. In fact, the total fuel resources are still over 10,000 fuel units. And over 1,500 monopropellant. Practically 1,600. And the electric charge just never fluctuates. We've got a battery buried into the head of this thing on some side. Let me find it. There it is. There's the battery. That's it. See? Just crammed right in there. Like, there you go. Give me electric power. Even with the additional SAS unit on the lander, it's a very, very time-consuming thing to move without RCS. I guess I really have enough of it that I can stand to use some, but I try to conserve the crap out of it because occasionally docking does not go smoothly and you end up using a ton of RCS to make multiple passes. Though, quite frankly, tonight I have yet to have a single screw-up. I think it's all about getting the process right. Trying to half-ass it in the process will end up making 10 times more work for you in the long run. It's far, far more effective to just get a closely matched orbit, slowly narrow down the difference, and then make the final adjustments visually, and by dead reckoning, you know, just go straight at the thing. Just pick a point of reference, in other words, the other ship, and fly at it. That's not too complicated. And as always with the atomic thrusters, the game is estimating that we are going to go faster than we will, so shortly after the point of the time where it thinks we need to thrust is the time we need to actually thrust. The other nice thing about the atomic thrusters, they don't have enough kick to tear anything apart. There we go, 0.0. Doesn't get much better than that. Let's just go ahead and head to Ike then, shall we? Since the burn is done, let's go ahead and watch the show unfold. The sun. Kerbal, I've heard it referred to as. And here comes Ike. Goodbye, Duna. It was interesting visiting you. I understand there is a mapping satellite plug-in mod you can get for this game. That might probably be the first and not saying the only mod I get, but definitely going to be high on the priority list. I'm not so concerned with the automatic navigation tools because the vanilla version of the game kind of gives you those to a degree, but I would really appreciate a way to map planets and have a simple, you know, loadout sheet of paper type thing that I could look at and decide interesting features to visit and so forth, and maybe find more of those hidden Easter egg type things. Once we get into our encounter here momentarily, I like the wavy line. Like, am I really going to do that? I don't think I am. That's okay. Once we get into this encounter, we're going to drop time to regular speed. Yep, there's Ike. We are now in an Ike encounter. Let's go ahead and turn this orbit into an orbit, shall we? 105 and 120, that's pretty good. Alright, let's do these burns then, shall we? Oop, see what I mean about wasting RCS? The SAS is like, yay, I get to waste. I don't want to go any higher than about 110. Wow, it's a big moon. Alright, it's quite close enough, since, like always, we won't quite be dead on with our burn. That's good enough. 96 and 121, fantastic. That's gonna take us roughly to the North Pole. That was my goal here, is to land on the North Pole. Hey, look, a little light. We're landing right, whoa, we're landing right there. That's the goal, at least. On that strange peak. Close enough, it looks like Game Boy graphics. Maybe we shouldn't even try. Ah, we lucked out. That's close. That's real close. Good. Good, good. Okay. Middle one full. Side ones still got something in them. So they're worth having. This thing's totally full. So we're ready to go back to the surface of another body in the solar system here. Very good, very good. Let's take a look at where we would burn to come down at roughly the light dot on the North Pole. Probably when we're coming up to its horizon, right? And then we'll break more once we get closer. But I would like to go a little bit closer to the thing. And we'll aim actually more past it than that, because as we come in, what we'll do is we'll end up burning off all of our vertical velocity and then going straight down at a certain point. because there's no air, it makes it a little bit easier to guess where I'm going to end up. I know I'm going to end up like a quarter of the distance, a fifth of the distance between this arc and me. So that's about right, I think, to land on the little light point on the north end, the North Pole. Maybe that's where Santa Claus is. He's hiding out on Ike. Space debris, hooray! Polluting the solar system since 2012. Well, I guess it's 2013 now. I kind of started playing this in 2012, though, so I'm still going to make that claim. Anyway, that seems like the burn we're going to do. And it's not very large either, but... Oh, we're still in our big vessel. We need to get out of it. That's right. We're going to have to redo this burn, because, you know, we're not landing with this. We're landing with this. So on that note, let's go ahead and decouple. I want to control the other one, thank you. There we are. Just a few puffs away from it. There we go. That's a pretty stable orbit. And it's going pretty close to the North Pole for when we take off again. That's good. Very handy. And like I said, we are going to have to redo that whole maneuver. I'm just bored with landing on the equator. I wanted to do a polar landing for a change. Just to mix things up. Well, we might as well go ahead and get to our burn. The appointed burn of destiny. And we'll go a tiny bit early, but not much, because this thing actually has quite a bit of thrust. Oh yes, we have to activate the engines first. That could be helpful when it comes to flying them. We'll save the middle one for now, because that's kind of the emergency stage. Unless we're out of danger. Let's go ahead and just do it to it then, shall we? Ooh. Nothing like getting disoriented. Alright, let's throttle this down a bit. A lot of bit, for that matter. 2, 1. That's awfully close to 0. Let's go ahead and get that to 0 exactly, shall we? Ooh, well, a tiny bit more than 0. But, you know what? It's okay. Pretty well lined up with what we wanted here. Once we come in a little bit closer, we will thrust backwards, you know, retrograde, nullify our ground velocity, and come down straight onto the North Pole, ideally. Ideally. Say goodbye. Main travel stage. We'll see you again soon, I hope. Let's take a gander. So yeah, it's pretty much time to kill our velocity. Let's go ahead and take care of business then. Retrograde burn is what is on the plate. It's pretty close. Pretty close. Now we'll just bring our orbital speed down to basically nil. Here, let's take a look at what it would take to get to the left here. Like the way it vanishes constantly, like, you don't want this anymore, right? Like, yeah, I kind of do, actually. Like, not anymore, though, right? Like, yeah, I still do. That's pretty good. It's still a 50% or better retro angle. Just a slight adjustment as we head in. We got started a little early, but we're not doing a full burn at this point, so that's okay. close, because this is not an exact thing we're doing right here. That's pretty darn close, though. Right now we're coming down right where we want to. Can you see anything? I can't see anything. I see nothing. I see kind of a weird square. That's just the rendering process determining some kind of something based on range. I don't know what. Couldn't tell you. I think this looks fancier closed, frankly. It's gotta look good. Well, we certainly are headed for the surface. There's no denying that. That is the thing that's happening. And we are headed pretty much right for the northernmost point. We'll worry about retrograde burn when we get closer, because we'll be able to bleed off this velocity relatively quickly. And burning the whole way down will just give gravity more time on which to act against us, and thus we'll have to burn more to compensate that. By only burning for the shortest possible duration with the maximum thrust, you're fighting gravity for the least amount of additional time on the descent, and thusly being the most efficient with your fuel. Fighting it the whole way down is a very inefficient way to do things, let me tell you. I see no workshops. That's a shame. I was kind of halfway hoping to see something interesting. We'll turn on the lights and lower the gear. We are moving at quite a clip right now. I mean, we are. But I'm confident that this thing will be able to stop. Not exactly on a dime, but surprisingly close to it. We're going to wait till we get a bit lower. Not so much going to do this all at once. We are going to do this sequentially. I'm not that brave. See, yeah, this thing's losing charge with... Oh, well, we have plenty of time with these lights on. We'll be okay. And doesn't, like, burning the engine or something, like, recharge it or something? I don't know. Maybe not. Excellent. Let's go. Lights are very handy. Telling you. Alright, that is pretty squarely centered. And we're going pretty quick, but we can lose 50 meters a second in a few seconds. And we'll see the surface more distinctly before we get to that point. Thanks to our wonderful landing lights. Very handy, I'm telling you. This way we don't come in at a suicidal velocity, but still come in at a relatively fuel-efficient speed before getting down to nil. Let's see, that's a little bit fast. I'd like to hit the ground a little bit less than 6, if possible. Yeah, 5 would be pretty much perfect as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, we're drifting a tiny, tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Oop, that was more than I needed. 1.5. Oh yeah, there we go. Hey, RCS for the win. Nice touchdown, guys. And I think we're right at the North Pole, just about. I mean, somebody's getting out and walking to it, that's all I'm saying. We're basically on top of the North Pole. They won't have long to walk. That's for sure. Alright, successful landing complete. Next time we'll explore the North Pole a little bit and hopefully make the trip back home. Thanks so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it as always. Like it if you liked it, and I will catch you next time. Peace.